Hello, this is Nas Babar from NB Network Solutions. Welcome. Today my topic is Access Control List, also known as ACL. Access Control List, ACL. Now, in order to understand the access list, you have to understand the concept of inverse mask and wildcard mask, because the software which is used in Cisco or Juniper or Nokia, what they do is that they look at the inverse mask. They don't look at the traditional mask when it comes to access list. So therefore, it's really important to understand the concept of inverse mask and how wildcard masks basically play a role. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Let's say we have 192.168.20.0/24 subnet, which is being advertised from Los Angeles by router R1. It is being advertised to router 2 in New York. Okay, so it's being received over gig 0/1 interface on R2. Now, for some reason, the network administrator in New York says, I'm seeing some unwanted traffic coming from this particular subnet, 192.168.20.0/24 in LA, and they basically want to block it. So how do we do that? We basically apply an access control list on this interface to block this traffic. Now, in order to understand what goes in background, we need to take a look at this. So we have 192.168.20.0/24. I can convert this 192 into binary form, right? So when I convert this into binary form, 11000, as you can see at my reference list, 128 plus 64 is 192, rest of them are zeros. Same thing with 168, 128 plus 32 is 160, plus 8 is 168. So 10101. So the only corresponding bits which are on makes the total 168. Same thing applies over here, same thing applies, well, last octet is all zeros. So now, thing to understand is that classic mask for this is 255.255.255.0 for class C addresses, right? Now, basically, if you want to write the mask in binary form, 255 will be all ones, 255 all ones, and zeros will be all zeros. So in digital network world, you have 1 and you have 0. 1 is on, 0 is off. Opposite of 1 is 0, opposite of 0 is 1. So that's all inverse mask is. So what I do is that inverse mask, I change all the ones into zeros, all the ones into zeros for the second octet, all the ones into zeros for the third octet, and the last one I turn all ones, because inverse mask of 1 is going to be all zeros. Inverse mask of all zeros is going to be all ones, and that is also known as wildcard mask, my friends. So basically what this means that I don't care whatever is in the last octet, I'm not going to even look at it, okay? It's just going to be blocked. I'm not looking at it. It's just going to be blocked. I'm not looking at it, so doesn't matter. You know, whatever it is, it's a wildcard mask. It's not going to be looked by the router, and it's just going to be dumped. So, however, can we say that in case of 192.168.20, can we say that? Not really. Why? Let's take a look at that. So I'm going to erase this right here, this part right here, so that you can understand this concept better. Okay? So we said that wildcard mask is all zeros, all zeros, all zeros, and all ones. Sorry, the inverse mask. Now this wildcard mask basically is telling me that whatever comes in this octet, I'm not going to even look at it. However, can we do that over here? No, we can't. Because if you look at this 0 corresponds to 1, 1, so it has to match. Because I am only going to ignore or block 192. Let's look at this. Can we ignore this bit, this bit, this bit? We can't, because I am only going to block 168. Anything else is allowed. Same thing over here, 20. This bit and this bit is on, so we're gonna only ignore 20. 21 is not gonna be ignored. 19 is not gonna be ignored. So only 20. So that's how we basically come up with inverse mask and then wildcard mask, and that's what the software in Cisco looks at it, okay? So now moving on further, how do we apply that on a router? 192.168.20.0/24 has to be blocked from entering gig 0/1 on R2. So basically, pretty straightforward, simple. Config T, Cisco, config T, you go into global mode, you say IP access dash list standard and name it. I named it NAS, you can name it John, you can name it whatever you want to. Then you say deny 192.168.20.0 and the inverse mask, okay? And then the next statement is going to be permit any. So it's going to block this particular subnet and then permit anything else. Then you go into interface mode, which is gig 0/1, and you say IP access dash group NAS in, okay? In this particular case, what we're doing is we're saying that any traffic which is sourcing from 192.168.20.0 is going to be blocked from entering R2. Everything else is going to be allowed. And this is applied on interface gig 0/1, which is the interface from where the traffic is being entered. More to come. This was just the first lesson on access list. Watch it. If you have any questions, please go ahead and send it to me. And also don't forget to like if you like the contents of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day.